I saw it today 10 years ago. I made my first video. My first video. It wasn't basketball. It was my first video.
I wanna fly, can you take me far away? Give me a star to reach for, tell me what it takes, and I'll go so high, my feet won't touch the ground. Just itch my wings and pull the strings. I bought these strings that all fall down.
I honestly can't. It's been 10 years. So the fact they got to a point where NBA players were watching it, they were talking about it.
Other NBA YouTubers that you might be watching and things like that?
Well, yeah, growing up, the biggest guys for me were obviously Chris Smoove
Yep.
and QJB.
Yep.
Those are my two main guys. I mean, iPod King Carter, Nike Faller.
Bro, those are OGs.
Messenger Matt, I remember being like 10, 11 years old, into that stuff. Trying to think of the dude right now who makes all like the replays. He's kind of like Messenger Matt, but he I think it's like Real Life Legend, I think might be his name, but I watch him on YouTube as well. So
his Michael Jordan video. This was the first one that I ever did that really got popular and people really started gravitating towards.
Michael Jordan, leaping, twirling, flying through the air like a man unleashed from gravity.
I mean, the first time I ever saw Michael Jordan, it was our camp, and I said, I think I just saw the best 6'4" high school player I've ever seen.
Without a doubt, the greatest basketball player of all time, and he still is.
This Kobe Bryant video. My friend, he auditioned for a role in the reality TV show Big Brother. This is a true story. And the auditions were in Minnesota. So we drove out to Minnesota, got an Airbnb, and I stayed back in the room while he would go to the auditions, and that's where I recorded this video. And we were there for like a week because he got through the first round, the second round, and then the third round would have been the final 30, and he would have gotten flown out to California to be a part of the final audition, and he just missed it for that. That's where this Kobe Bryant video was made.
You love me because I'm Kobe. Because I'm a 5-time champion. Because I'm one of the greatest to step on the court. But you shouldn't. You should hate me. Hate me. Because I gave you 4 a.m. Because I pushed you when no one else would. Hate me. Because I demanded greatness. And greatness demands everything. Love me when you become greater.
But also, when I submitted this application to this fire department, it made me think about another moment. I wanted to make enough money to fly my grandpa out to Ireland.
Which I think this is 12, vlog 12. This one, I wouldn't say it's gonna be like strategy or anything. This is sort of the overall aspirations of the channel. The aspiration is to build a following and then be able to sell the products you want, create the business you want, the brand, and obviously have an overall vision for it. But I would say closer, because I see that happening in a 10-year span as opposed to, say, the next year or two. But in the next year or two, I definitely want to make enough money to where I can take my grandfather to Ireland. And I haven't told him, like, this is the overall aspiration, especially in the short term goal of, like, you know what I mean, building an income off of this, saving that money so where I could take him to Ireland. Because, I mean, I don't even think he know how much that means to me if I could do that.
I had a video I made that I stayed up late for. I overslept. And the only thing that woke me up was a bunch of phone calls on my phone. Texts from everybody in my family. Nicholas, you need to wake up. Nicholas, go see your grandpa. Nicholas, wake up, wake up. So I finally got up, and the second I saw it, It's not good. So I jumped out of my bed immediately. I was in my pajamas still. This was in the winter in Wisconsin, so there was still snow on the ground. And my grandpa lived up the street, so I ran barefoot to his place. And I saw the ambulances outside, so I knew it was not good. And I remember running, and the first thing I said, why the fuck did I oversleep? That's why I have that video down to this day, because I just don't like looking at it. But I remember running up his room, seeing my family stand around. They were standing on the wall. They were crying. And the fire medics were around his body, and they were doing CPR. And they'd been doing it for long enough that they got the Lucas machine. Now, I'm pursuing to become a firefighter, so all these things I understand now. And it's this machine that they use to do CPR instead of doing it with their hands. It's the simplest way to describe it. And the second I got in there, the first thing I did is I ran and I knelt right next to the fire medic. I said, what can I do? In my head, there's no fucking way I'm going to just sit here and do nothing. Sit around and cry. That's not an option for me here. I remember kneeling right next to him though. And I was so serious too. I didn't know what I would do. I would have been 10 years ago. I would have been 21, 20. I have no idea what I would have done. He said, son, I know you want to help. I remember his demeanor to this day because he had so much composure. He said, son, I know you want to help, but if you could sit right here, that'll be the best thing. And I said, okay. But I couldn't even sit there. But this is probably the first time I've ever thought about it 10 years later. Because there's no way I could just sit there, watch, and anxiously wait, and not do anything. So I just got up and I sat in the room, the back room, and I was pleading with God. Because I was just saying, I just started this. I want to take him to Ireland. Not like this. Because I remember when that happened, I stopped doing this for a very long time. But the fire medic came to me. He said, son, your grandpa didn't make it, and I'm sorry. I cried. And he put his hand on my shoulder. He said, before I leave, can I pray for you? At that point in my life, when I started this, everything in my life fell apart. Everything. I'm not going to get into details, but shit happened. So he was the only person that gave me any sort of compassion at that period of my life. And my grandpa, he was everything to me. The only way I had to describe it, to put into context how much he meant to me, is that I ended up playing baseball in college. And I used to think it was so crazy when I got older that a lot of the kids I played with, they played on travel teams and, especially baseball nowadays. I would play catch is with my grandpa, and he had hip surgery. So he would come out on this lawn chair, and he would sit in the lawn chair and let me play catch with him. So he would get older and my arm would get stronger. I would just have to go farther back. And if I threw it in the dirt, I'd have to go chase it because he wasn't gonna get up from the chair. But anytime I asked him when I was a kid, he never said no. And especially as I've gotten older now, I can only imagine how hard it was for him. Because he had lead in his hip. He walked around with a cane. But whenever I wanted to play catch with him, he never said no. And I mean, he never said no. If I threw the ball at his shin, he just would act like it wasn't a big deal. But I think about it now. But he just did it because he cared about me. So when that fire medic, he came back and he has to pray for me. He was really a light in a dark place. He had no idea what my life was. I had nobody. that I trusted in my life. So this page, my grandpa, this was all that I had in my life that I put my heart into. So it's crazy. That's been 10 years. And you can hear a fire truck right now. I just submitted my first application and I'm just reflecting on life. Everything in our life we do matters. It matters to somebody. Everything we do in our life matters to somebody. We just never know who. It was very hard for me to let his ashes down because it was like him dying twice. Because I lost him already and he wasn't here, but I didn't want to let this piece of him go. So I just carried it with me. But I'd actually come to understand and really know that the love he gave me was a love that God gave him. It's not gone. And I know he wouldn't want me to stop this. I know he wouldn't. Because I could still hear him in my voice saying, Bubba, you work so hard, why would you give up now? You already got so far, why don't you just finish? Why would you give up now? You always say that. Why would you give up now? I'm going to end this with this. There's this movie, Amar Stoudemire, he produced it. He read the Bible, he went to Israel, he got baptized. He made this movie. This was the first movie he produced when he came back to the States. It's called Beyond the Lights. And the main character, the music artist, for all of her career, she had been singing the songs of other people. They'd been giving her lyrics. And she had a real crossroads where she would stuff all the songs she had written on herself, her own lyrics, under her bed. And then when she would ever try to get them on her projects, on her albums, they would get shot down.
Her album's gonna break records. You know that. Tell Trey to keep the release date.
She doesn't change this conversation, I will personally drop her from this label.
And she had a real climactic moment when she finally used her own voice to use her gifts.
Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. No place big enough for holding all the tears you're gonna cry. Cause your mama's name is lonely, and your daddy's name was pain, and they called you Little Sorrow, cause you'll never love again. You ain't got no one to hold you. You ain't got no one to care. If you'd only understand it, nobody wants you anywhere. So why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly.
At some point, we all have to sing our own song. You know, you hear this a lot where we are all instruments of God. Which means we all have a different song to sing. It's like the greatest orchestra of life. And I'm ready to sing my own song.
One thing God don't do, He don't play about me. When the darkness came for my name, He stepped in instantly. Every demon tried to whisper, but He silenced every lie. They thought they had my spirit broken, but my God stood by my side. He walked into the battle.
Day one.
And the enemy had to flee. He cleared every shadow around me. Said this one belongs to me. God don't play about me. He don't let no weapon rise. He covers me with His mercy, and He wipes tears from my eyes. When the world tried to crush me, He rebuilt what they destroyed. He filled every empty corner with His strength and with His joy. He cast out every demon, every darkness that I held. He broke chains I hid in silence, lifted me when I fell. They don't know the prayers I prayed, the storms I barely survived. But God had His hand upon me, kept my calling alive. God don't play about me. He fights battles I can't see. He turns every valley into victory, because He walks ahead of me. God don't play about me. He fights battles I can't see. Because He walks ahead.
Extra point right there. So all those enzymes, all the viral enzymes.